Hi, welcome back to the Spirit's Path. This is Dee, and today's tarot card of the day out of the Wildwood Tarot deck is the end of your journey, the World Tree. And it's been 40 days since you walked out of that World Tree and started this piece of your spiritual path, right? It's the end of the journey. You've walked that maze. You've had numerous major arcana cards coming through, giving you that mentorship. You've had numerous court cards out there, giving you leadership and protection and swift action and messages. Okay, and this all started when you walked out of the World Tree 40 days ago. That childlike curiosity that you've taken on to help with your spiritual path. And through that process, you've gained some wisdom and some knowledge. And now that final step is to, walk up to that door, turn that knob, and walk into the heart of the World Tree and become one with the universe. So over those 40 days, okay, you've been protected by the Green Woman a number of times, given that mantle of leadership, by the Green Man. Those are all major arcana cards. And you were in a transition, okay, as you were coming out, and you were enduring that transition with abundance, and a bunch of court cards came out to help set the tone for you with the King and Knights out there, telling you to be quick with your action, but yet at the same time, be sure in your leadership abilities and how you wanted to do it. And then that blasted oak came along and set you free. It set you free of everything that was holding you back. It broke your bonds, okay? And the Knight of Arrows came out right after that. And it said you need to be swift with your action, okay? And through that process, there was some new passion that came out, and you were dedicated to the path that was moving forward. And then you got some messages from the universe. The King of Stones, the wolf, showed up a couple times, and just to let you know that you were doing the right things moving forward with your finances. And the universe showed up with the pole star, and it showed you some tradition that maybe you were thinking about. And then the adder showed up. Where's that leadership ability? Okay. And through that process, there was you let some things go from that blasted oak. There was some mourning, but there was also a reuniting with long lost spirits. Those you haven't touched off in the past, okay? But possibly a reuniting, with a long lost love coming up, right? Because the Queen of Arrows came up and said that there was a transition going on there as well, all right? And then the journey has popped up a couple times, and the journey is all about seeing that raven eating the flesh off of that elk, and that just lets you know that life is cyclical, right? Things die off and new things come on. And then, the skills showed up. So you're working on your skill set, and with that became joy. And you were manifesting things from the Shaman, gaining that courage from the Woodward. And then it was time to rest again. And then the Green Woman shows up with that King of Bows, giving you leadership and protection, not more than, 10, 12 days ago. And, you became more balanced over these last 30 days. And then out of the blue, the Seven of Arrows insecurity hit you. Here you are standing on that rock. Woe is me. Just that single moment of doubt. Okay, but you faced your fears with the Guardian. You made the decision never, not to let that happen again. And this is how we're closing out these 40 days. You gained respect of the Wildwood Forest. You respect yourself for the decision you made to face your fears. The King of Stones came out and showed you where your riches were. And as a result of that, you became more grounded. Okay, you became more steadfast. You became more secure and stable with your hand on the Taurus, with this Three of Stones and creativity. And it's going to be nice, slow-moving energy. And you'll carry that energy with you as you pass through the World Tree. All you have to do now is there's a little doorknob right there on that door. You've walked that maze. You've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly in these 40 days. All you have to do to complete that journey, open that door, walk through. You know, this journey took some courage, took some patience, some resilience, all right? It also took an opportunity to look at oneself, some reflective energy as well, to look at, say, okay, where have I come from? It's good to look back on the last 40 days. You've made some great strides. You've made some great accomplishments. Not everything's always going to be easy. You know, and before that, I think we were only in the world tree, out of the world tree, maybe 10 days. Before that, 7 days. So, you know, with this patience and its insight, you've gained some contemplation and meditation on this 40 days of journey. You know you're protected. The universe has you. But yet, every journey is going to be different. Sometimes you learn new things. Sometimes you have to revisit old things in order for you to accomplish what you need to accomplish. So anyone who seeks the knowledge and wisdom of the world tree gains the blessings of the universe. You've got a lot of blessings down here. There was a lot of transition going on. And if you made some transitions over these 40 days, congratulations. That's awesome. You know, that takes dedication, which came up. All right. That takes courage. That came up with the woodward. That takes, you know, that takes an attitude of resolutionness, right? Taking things to the end, seeing things to the end. Things may not always be rosy, but if they are, that's even better. Because that's the blessings of the universe that are coming down. There's more to learn as you continue to move forward, right? It's persevering to the end. It's persevering to, you know, see this world tree. And every time you come up to it, you look back at that maze and you say, wow, how did I do it? How did you do it? I can tell you how. By listening to what intuition has to say to you, by listening to what the spirit has to say to you, by looking within and facing those hard decisions, by, you know, looking that guardian in the eyes and saying, you know what, I'm moving forward. You can't stop me. You've reached and fulfilled your quest this time in 40 days. Congratulations. You know, think back of everything that you've learned during that time. You know, it's not a time to sit back and say, oh, woe is me. This is a time to rejoice. This is a time to, you know, to be in triumph because you've overcome the challenges in 40 days. You've also met the successes with joy and elation, right? You've gained the respect based on the decisions you've made in the Wildwood Forest. That King of Stones, even though he's popped up 2 or 3 times in the 40 days, you're richly blessed by the universe with what you have. All right? So breathe in the sweetness of the air that's there. Drink in the waters of the tree. Enjoy the passion of the journey that you've been on. And just stay grounded. Be like the roots of the tree, grounded. And stay balanced. And enjoy what the life energy of the world tree and the universe has for you. So this is D for a Spirit's Path with today's card out of the Wildwood Tarot deck, the World Tree. Hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel, share it with others, and give me a thumbs up. And this is D for a Spirit's Path. We'll talk to you tomorrow on a new journey. Take care, God bless, and stay safe, everybody.